I haven't heard about this case before. To those of you who've been following it and know all kinds of things, I have no background information. So if I say something stupid, if I say something that everybody already knows about, please bear with me. To those of you who are also new to this case, well, welcome along. We'll go on this little trip together. I'm just giving you the highlights and some commentary. If you want the entire thing without interruption, Law and Crime has everything.
Also, you may not talk to members of your family or friends or co-workers about the case. You may not talk to anyone who has anything to do with this case about the case. So in other words, do not try to talk to the lawyers or the marshals or the clerk.
Or the clerk? Does anyone know if this particular judge always includes the clerk in these instructions? Is anyone else thinking what I'm thinking? Becky Hill was the first thing that jumped into my brain here.
Now, did you have occasion to respond to 69 Wells Lane, in New Canaan that night?
Yes.
Why did you respond there?
The police department had a report, complaint of a missing person at that address.
Who was the missing person?
Jennifer Dulos.
Answer, sir.
The caller stated that Jennifer did not go to a doctor's appointment in New York City and that she was missing. And given the information that Kelly Coughlin, our dispatcher, got at that time, Officer Matthew Blank, and myself responded to 69 Wells Lane to check that property to see if we could find Jennifer.
What type of area is 69 Wells Lane?
It's a residential area, and that street is a dead-end cul-de-sac.
Do you recall around what time you went there?
Approximately 7 p.m.
Lieutenant Latourette, if I can please draw your attention to the screen behind you. Give it one moment. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
I do, yes.
What is it?
It is overhead camera view of 69 Wells Lane in New Canaan.
Now, you indicated you responded to 69 Wells. Is 69 Wells Lane depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
Could you please point to it?
It's this residence here. The end of the cul-de-sac is here, and the driveway comes up to the residence, which is here. This residence.
Thank you. Now, with respect to, you indicated it's a cul-de-sac, does it go out to a road? Could you point to where the road is, please?
This is Wells Lane. It does travel this direction, and Frogtown Road is out here.
When you arrived at 69 Wells Lane, was it dark out?
No, not yet.
How would you describe it?
Daylight, you could see.
Okay. Were you looking for anything in particular?
We are looking for Jennifer Dulos, the missing person.
What did you do?
Officer Blank and myself went to the front door. We rang the doorbell, we knocked on the door, and there was no answer. That is a view of 69 Wells Lane from the bottom of the driveway, looking up the driveway at the residence.
And is that what Wells Lane looked like that night when you responded?
Yes.
If you can, just take a look and indicate what that shows.
That is the driveway leading to the residence, and it depicts the garage door area of that residence.
Looks like there's a sprinkler system. Could be a problem if there was evidence in the path of the water.
When you arrived that day after you knocked on doors, did you go anywhere else on the property or anywhere depicted in these photographs?
Yes, Officer Blank and I did walk the perimeter of the residence to see if we could see anybody inside, to see if any looked like anybody was home. We then returned to the driveway where the garage doors were, and we were provided a code to the garage door by the complainant, the babysitter, and we used that code to enter the garage.
Sir, did you knock on those doors?
We did not. We simply walked around the perimeter of the residence, looked inside to see if those doors were unlocked. They were secure, locked.
Now, as you entered the garage, what did you see?
The black SUV pictured, and it had a New York registration plate.
Did you do anything next, I guess?
Yes, Officer Blank called over the radio to our dispatcher that registration, New York registration plate, to see who the registered owner was and see, who owned that vehicle and why it was there.
Sir, did you notice anything in the garage that drew your attention?
Officer Blank and myself entered the garage. We walked to the left of that SUV, the driver's side of that vehicle. We walked to the front of that vehicle. I checked the doorknob from the garage, leading from the garage into the residence. The doorknob was unlocked. We waited in front of that vehicle at the door until the dispatcher got back that registration information to us. While we waited, I looked at the vehicle and noticed that there was what appeared to be red blood on the front of that vehicle.
Can you please describe what you saw?
A red mark on the grill area of the vehicle. And again, it drew my attention because it didn't match the color of the grill, didn't match the color of the vehicle.
Was there any damage to the vehicle?
No, we did not. We looked at the vehicle, did not observe any damage. Initially, Officer Blank and myself discussed it possibly could be a deer strike in the roadway. And again, there was no hair, there was no damage indicating any such collision with a deer.
Snap that photo.
Yeah.
Staff 3 headquarters. 3. Alright, I've located that vehicle. It is parked on the side of the road on Lapham approaching Talmadge. I have a secondary plate for you around when you're ready. Connecticut.
I think it's not the home, so you don't know.
No.
It has a service, it goes, and there's a Chevy Cherokee.
Who was the register? For Northward leaving. More towards the Merritt.
Grab my camera from the car.
Yeah.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
At the lumberyard.
It could be a deer. But it's strange.
It was wiped at some point, but dried first. Dry edges, what's that? Yeah, when he just called in, he had a lot of scuffing.
Headquarters to 7.
There's some back here too. Is there? Yeah, down here too. Strange. on the lower portion of the car. And it looks like it's been buffed or scraped or scratched all down through the driver's side. I don't know, it could be a deer strike, but it's just very, very strange. It's a big garage. Oh, all right. Well, we're taking pictures and then we'll be out of here. Splat it. Oh, yeah.
That's really good. Stat 3, just confirming that vehicle is unoccupied.
All right, fair enough. All right, there's some in the tire too.
If you like, I can request the dog to do a track. I have 13 and 7.
All over there.
Received. I'll leave that at their discretion.
It's all blood. All right.
13 at headquarters. Affirmative. See if you can hit a K9. And before we leave here, if you want anything, we might need to track.
Her jacket's in her purse.
As long as you can make access, you'll be able to track right off the driver's seat.
Let's grab that key. Yep, that's what I did. I thought he said he came back to a Mini
The
Cooper.
thing is saying that there might be an extra key in that suburban in the residence.
That's affirmative. We're grabbing the key. The residence is cleared. We're being routed back.
Received. I'll phone on unless you're going to look at a cannon.
Alright. The car's cleared. Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me, especially because like it's like a pattern here. You know what I mean? It's clue. Right, not fur. But there, it's up here too. It's hard to get any of this. These cameras are, we should get better cameras. Hopefully this is getting it though. Right? Usually if you hit a deer and it's run your car, you take it to the car wash and get it cleaned. Especially a Range Rover. Scrapes there. Let's see if there's any damage in Suburban. I mean, this is grandma's car, so you never know, but scrapes there.
Throughout the course of your walking through 69 Wells, did you look into closets and other, I guess, cubby holes, if you will?
Yes, we checked the residence for anywhere we believed a person could be.
While you were conducting the search of 69 Wells, did you wear gloves?
Did not, no.
Did Officer Blanks wear gloves?
No.
Now, there was also a point in the video in states too that there was a purse in the kitchen. Do you recall that?
Yes. Officer Coughlin had relayed to Officer Blank and myself that there was Jennifer's purse was between the mudroom and the kitchen. And normally if she was not home.
Objection, hearsay.
Court's knowledge, my next question was going to be, why'd you go through the purse?
That's irrelevant.
Really?
Well, overruled.
And inside we noticed a notepad that Officer Blank looked at. And we also noticed there was a key fob or a set of keys for a Chevy vehicle.
Did you do anything with those keys?
Yes, those keys were taken from 69 Wells Lane, and we ultimately took them to Lapham Road where the Chevy was located by Captain Walsh.
Do you recognize what's depicted on that photograph, sir?
Yes, it's an aerial photo of a portion of Waveney Park. It also includes Lapham Road.
If you could, please identify Lapham Road if it's on that photograph.
Lapham Road runs here.
Is there an entrance onto or into Waveney Park from Lapham Road?
Yes.
Where is that?
As you look at the picture, the entrance to Waveney Park is going to be here. You can see the roadway going up through the park.
Did you go to Lapham Road that day?
Yes.
Where did you go?
We went to this area here on the southern shoulder of Lapham Road.
Why did you go there?
Captain Walsh located the black Chevy Suburban that Jennifer Dulos drives.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yes, a Chevy key fob out of a purse located at 69 Wells Lane.
The key fob is in her purse at home, not with the vehicle. And we know it's not a matter of a car theft or robbery. A clumsy attempt at staging?
Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
That is the area of Lapham Road that I just described, the pull-off parking spaces. That is the southbound shoulder.
Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that, please?
It is a black Chevy Suburban.
Did you, what did you do when you got to Lapham Road?
We were looking for a missing person, Jennifer Dulos. Officer Blank and myself checked the trail that runs parallel to the Merritt Parkway. We walked, looked on the trail looking for anything that would lead us to the missing person. A police officer from Wilton Police Department arrived on scene, a canine officer. Officer Blank and I returned to Lapham Road where the Suburban was located.
What did you do next, if anything?
Officer Blank assisted the canine officer. I stayed with the vehicle and Captain Walsh on Lapham Road.
At some point, did you return to 69 Wells?
Yes.
Did you go into Waveney Park, by the way, at any point besides that walk on that you just described?
No.
When did you return to 69 Wells?
After the canine conducted a search in the area of Lapham Road and Waveney Park, no track was able to be established. So I was instructed to go from Lapham Road with a canine handler back to Wells Lane to see if we could do a search from that location.
The canine did not pick up her scent at Lapham Road. While it's true that a lot of factors play into whether or not a canine picks up a scent, and that not picking up a scent doesn't mean it wasn't there, that the dog didn't pick up anything is still important in my opinion. I know it's not conclusive, but also considering her purse and the key fob and her jacket were still at home, I'm thinking they didn't pick up a scent because it wasn't there. Because she wasn't there.
Did you go inside the garage again?
Yes.
Did you make any further observations in the garage?
Yes.
What did you observe?
When we entered the garage, we went on the right side of the vehicle, the black SUV, a Range Rover. On the right passenger side of the vehicle, on the floor, I observed what appeared to be a footprint, reddish in color, could have been a footprint of blood.
Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
Here, I'm actually going to scroll in. What is that?
It appears to be a toe portion of a footprint.
Is that what you observed in the garage that night?
Yes.
Did you make any other observations?
Yes. To the right side of that garage, as you enter the garage door, there was garbage cans. On the exterior of the garbage can near the lid, there appeared to be a red color that appeared to be blood.
Do you recognize what's depicted in that?
Yes. Appears to be drops on the rear portion, the rear left or driver's side of that vehicle, drops on the concrete floor.
The stain that looks like a bloody shoe print looks to me like a bloody shoe print. The other stains? I don't know. I mean, obviously they got to check everything, right? One of the things that I noticed is that there appears to be debris on top of the spots that they're talking about here, which makes me think that those drops aren't from that day. Now, I'm not a forensics expert. Somebody could prove me wrong.
Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes. It appears to be an area of the concrete floor that appears to be smeared, pinkish, reddish in color, as if something was cleaned up.
Could you describe the car, please?
It was a black Chevy Suburban as depicted. There was nothing initially remarkable, although looking at the passenger side, which is the side that's against the wood line, it was, I noted at my initial walk around with a flashlight that it appeared that something had been wiped on the side of the vehicle. There were streaks in it and some marks that looked, although dirt may have been brushed off it without being washed first, there were scratches. And some small amounts of what looked like, from my experience, to be a blood-like substance in different locations on the lower part of the vehicle.
Where on the vehicle did you see those marks?
I believe it was the right passenger door and the lower section near the running board.
Could you please explain the process of how that tow would have happened, or how it did happen, I should say?
So we contacted the department's on-duty wrecker, which was from town. They showed up on scene. I then, wearing gloves, I entered the vehicle so that we could limit any kind of exposure to anyone else. We couldn't initially start the vehicle, first because it was left in reverse. It was not actually in park. Secondly, because the battery was dead.
Sorry, I don't have a lot to say. It's all pretty straightforward so far. In the next clip, they're talking about finding cameras in the area, and this is very interesting.
When we were able to pick up pictures, or video rather, of Jennifer Dulos' vehicle leaving in the morning and returning, and then leaving for a second time and not returning.
Okay. Now, a couple questions about that. You indicated there was a time frame that you were interested in. What was that time frame?
It was in the morning from just before 8 a.m. Through, at that time we weren't really sure, through at least noon.
Did you watch that time frame on, I guess, at the property of 54 Wells?
At the property initially we did, and that's when we noted her vehicle leaving, returning, and leaving again.
Stop it real quick. Sir, if you wouldn't mind just explaining what is depicted on that screen.
So this is the driveway in front of the garage at 54 Wells Lane. It's looking effectively south, and what you'll see in the top right of the screen is actually Wells Lane as it travels past the residence.
If you wouldn't mind, please, if you can stand up and approach and just point out that area on that screen.
Sure. So this being the driveway area, at the very top is where Wells Lane passes that residence.
And same questions, I paused it right at the beginning. If you can, sir, just explain what we're looking at right here.
So this is the front of the residence at 54 Wells Lane, the driveway, and then in the background is Wells Lane as it passes in front of the residence.
And the numbers on the top, please.
That is the date and time that the video was recorded.
I'm going to hit play. Okay. How did you identify this as the vehicle?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. This is, characterization. The exhibit speaks for itself.
Well, in this court's view, the exhibit does not speak for itself. There's more than one black Chevy Suburban. The testimony elicited has to do with how this officer determined which black Chevy Suburban it was. Overruled.
If you can answer, sir, please.
So we had previously located Jennifer Dulos' vehicle, so we knew exactly what it looked like. And as we reviewed the video, when we found this, it matched up with a vehicle that we had previously impounded. Therefore, we knew it was her vehicle leaving her residence.
Now, is this the same vehicle? I'm sorry. Is this the same vehicle that you had spent the preceding night standing by?
Yes, it is.
And is there anything distinctive about that vehicle?
The wheels matched up on it, and there are also stickers on both rear quarter panels, passenger and driver side. Those decals matched up with the ones that were on her vehicle that we had impounded.
And is that what drew your attention to this, segment?
Yes, that it exited from the same vicinity that you could see in camera 3 was the same vicinity her driveway exited to Wells Lane. In addition, looking at the wheels and the sticker that's on the rear corner there, it matched up with the vehicle that we had impounded.
Thank you. Now, sir, did you see that vehicle on those cameras again?
Yes, we did. At approximately 8:05 a.m., it came back the opposite direction.
States 3 cam 3_805-806. Sir, please take a look behind you. And I'm just going to stop it at 45 seconds. Sir, is that the same time, or is the timestamp the same?
Yes, it is.
And is this the camera 3? I believe, is that the same camera that we saw previously?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, after 8:05 that morning, did you continue to watch these cameras?
Yes, we did.
And do you see that vehicle appear at another time?
Yes, I did. At approximately 10:25 a.m., 10:25 and 6 seconds.
Thank you. And the same question, sir, is this the same camera 7 that we have seen previously?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and the timestamp?
That is the same at 10:25 and 2 seconds.
Thank you.
This question and statement by the defense during the cross.
Did you see any other vehicles coming and going that other than the Suburban that we just watched?
Yes.
Did you capture any of those pictures as being of any evidentiary value?
We did not. Initially, we noted them, but as the investigation went forward, they were determined to be neighbors' vehicles or visiting vehicles that had nothing to do with the case itself.
And you mentioned that there was something about the hubcaps on this particular, the wheel covers on this particular Suburban that were unique or stood out. Can you tell us what that was? I'm just curious.
They weren't unique, but they matched up with the vehicle that we had already impounded.
Do you know how many different styles of hubcaps or wheel covers there are for Chevy Suburbans?
Not offhand, I do not.
So it was the sticker that you're referring to that we see in the back panel on some of the video clips, right?
That was a piece of it, yes.
Without that, it would be like any other Chevy Suburban from around that year, right?
It's feasible, yes.
This is the same guy who earlier objected to the prosecution asking how the officer was able to identify the vehicle, and who said, well, the evidence speaks for itself. And the judge had to say, well, this court finds that it doesn't speak for itself because there are lots of black SUVs. Now the defense wants to argue the reverse. We're on to the next witness.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with New Canaan Country Day School?
Yes,
In what way?
I'm the school liaison officer there.
Officer Coughlin, do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
Yes,
What is it?
the campus of New Canaan Country School and the surrounding area.
Is Wells Lane depicted on that photograph as well?
Yes,
And could you please point that out as well?
Wells Lane runs here.
Okay. And particularly, do you know where 69 Wells Lane is?
Yes,
Could you please point that out?
That pulls things together for time frames. For the first time, her vehicle was seen leaving and returning. Look how close the school is.
If you could just take a look behind you, do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
yes,
Officer Coughlin, was that the video that you identified? Or
Yes.
a clip of the video that you identified?
yes.
Okay. Officer Coughlin, if you can go up to the screen again, and I know it's small, but in the upper left-hand corner, let's see if I can't scroll in, there is some writing on the top. Can you see that?
Upper left-hand corner.
Yes. What is that writing?
2019-0524, referring to the date of May 24th, 2019, 8:03 and 44 seconds a.m. MS North, JD video.
Is the camera that video came from depicted in that photograph?
Yes,
Could you please stand up and point to where that video or that angle it was?
here.
Okay. What is that white building?
That's the middle school on the campus of New Canaan Country School.
Okay. And is that a one-way, or if you can just describe it, please?
The way in which Jennifer's vehicle was seen traveling out is a one-way exit out of the main portion of campus and goes towards Ponus Ridge Road.
First name's Corey, Corey. Last name is Claby, CLA, B as in boy, B as in boy, Y.
Thank you. And your affiliation?
I'm with the Connecticut State Police Major Crime Squad, Western District. When I arrived, I was assigned by Sergeant Bisson to do the scene video.
I notice looking at these pictures that there's a lot of privacy, which is great most of the time. But that means that your neighbors aren't seeing if something's going wrong. And that means that there's lots of places for somebody to lay in wait and hide. I just want to point out again the sprinklers. The other thing that's interesting is what's not here. There are no signs of a struggle. There are no signs of forced entry. There are no signs that the place was ransacked. There are valuables still in plain view. So this wasn't a robbery or burglary. This is somebody she knows. And look, there's a cake on the table. This woman didn't just up and leave. And the photos of the toys just brings home the fact that these children lost their mom. And again, you'll notice that there's debris over top of the stains that they're talking about.
Were you aware that civilians, for want of a better term, had already been through that garage that day?
At the time of filming the video, I was not aware of if that was a possibility.
Were you aware that at least the babysitter had been in there?
At the time of filming, no.
Were you aware that at least one of the children had been in there?
All right. You know what I said before about the debris being on top of the stain, so the stains couldn't have happened that day? Well, I take it all back. The defense is making me take it back. That debris could have been caused by other people, civilians, as he puts it, going in and out. We don't know what those spots are yet anyway, but if they are relevant, the defense has just scored one for the prosecution. If you want me to keep going with this case, let me know. If there's not enough interest, I won't do it. Those waiting for Pan and Ferguson, I haven't forgotten you. I'm working on it. I'm notorious for having too many irons in the fire and then sometimes getting nothing done. I haven't forgotten you. Stay safe. I'll see you in the comments.